you shut the fuck up. Just kidding. Or am I? Hello, and welcome to Yap Time. We're just gonna yap today. Just kidding, I still have notes and sources. Today we are addressing the question, do celebrities deserve boundaries? And the answer is obviously yes. But considering the way some fans act and the way some people have responded to Chappell Roan's boundary setting videos, you wouldn't necessarily know that the answer should be yes. At least in my opinion. If you're new here, I'm Carla. I make cultural commentary video essays like this one, as well as vlogs about my life abroad and the cozy crafts that I'm up to. So if you're interested in any of that, please do subscribe because we're almost at 2,000 subscribers and that would mean the world to me. Also, if you want to hit the like button, that helps me out a lot as well. Now back to the video. I think by now many of us have seen the videos of Chappell Roan setting boundaries with her fans, or maybe even people that shouldn't be considered fans in the first place. Her basically saying that this is not acceptable, and even if it's a normal part of fame, she doesn't think that that makes it okay. And there's been some mixed reactions to this. I have a feeling if you're watching this, you probably also agree that it's totally normal to set boundaries, but if you don't agree, I'm curious to hear what you think in the comments. But I just think it's interesting to talk about why fans might act this way. Like, what does it mean about them as people? Can it become dangerous? So I feel like we need to start with a quick reminder that celebrities are human too. Because this is a reality that literally no one can deny. No one is like a divine being. We are all just human. Even if a ton of people are obsessed with you, and if you've chosen that life, that doesn't take away your humanity. I read this article from a New Zealand website called Rova, and for Mental Health Awareness Week, they interviewed clinical psychologist Dr. Victoria Thompson with regards to this situation between Chappell Roan and her fans. Dr. Thompson said, "I do believe that celebrities are entitled to their privacy around their mental health and do not have to come into the public eye to discuss them if they do not want to." So just because celebrities might be hesitant to share more about their mental health, lest they be criticized for complaining too much, it doesn't mean that those struggles with mental health don't exist. We all struggle with our mental health sometimes, and celebrities are no different. Even if we believe that a celebrity's life is easier because they have money and notoriety, which I would agree that does give you the opportunity to have a better life when you are able to pay for things in the way that our society is set up. Like, yes, I will never try and argue that celebrities don't lead easier lives than the average person. But like I'll probably say a million times in this video and have already, that doesn't mean that they don't also have struggles. Also, if you're watching this part of the video, comment a star emoji or like an emoji that reminds you of Hollywood. And I think that those struggles can be exacerbated by the fact that they are constantly under the public eye, especially for famous women who are likely going to be criticized for their looks, for their attitude, and ironically probably last for their actual skill, whether it's singing, dancing, acting, whatever. And yes, they did choose that life to be in the public eye, but that doesn't mean to me that they shouldn't be able to complain about it. Or not even complain, like doing something useful, speaking out about it, trying to set boundaries, and maybe even change things for people who are going through the same thing. For example, I chose to move abroad at like 20 years old, and there are some struggles that come along with that I've talked about or that I do talk about in my regular life. Obviously, I chose that life. That's what I want and wanted, and there's so much more that I love about it, but that doesn't mean that I shouldn't be able to say, hey, this thing's not right, or I didn't enjoy this thing. Or to take an example like maybe you chose to become a nurse or a teacher or a graphic designer. Does that mean you can never say, I don't like this part about my job, I think we should change it, I'm going to set this boundary? Obviously not, and I don't think it's any different for someone who's chosen to be famous. And I feel like that's the #1 argument I've seen in the backlash to Chappell Roan's statements, saying, oh, well, she chose this life, like, does she even want to be famous? And that being the main argument is kind of like, have you got anything else to say? The image of success that celebrities have achieved can mean that they feel undue pressure to maintain this perfect image, which over time can become crippling. We all know this, I think. Like, you might really wish for something, and then when you have it, you're just scared of losing it, or you're scared of messing it up, or it comes with a whole host of issues that you didn't even expect, even if everyone told you to expect them. And I think dealing with such a big, stark change like that under the public eye, knowing that you're going to be under the public eye for however long you choose to continue that career, I can really see how that would take a toll on your mental health. And I don't fault Chappell at all for wanting to address that. So one of the arguments might be that celebrities, like, yes, they might get stalked, they might get harassed, but they should just deal with it because they'll be fine. And I think just the first point of celebrities still being human just automatically disproves that. Like, anyone is going to experience negative mental health consequences from being stalked or harassed. I imagine that this quote I'm going to read can be applied to anyone, but it is specifically talking about the psychological impact of stalking on celebrities. This is from Vladimir Hedra, who is a full professor of psychology at the University of Nis, not sure if I'm saying that right, in Serbia. The impact of stalking on the celebrity being stalked can be severe. It can lead to emotional distress, a sense of violation, and in some cases, even physical harm to the celebrity or their loved ones. And unfortunately, we can use many celebrities as examples, but just to stick with Roan, she's recently come out to say that she was diagnosed with severe depression. And I'm assuming that this has to do with her quick rise to fame, as well as the stalking that she and her family members have experienced. So where does this stalking behavior that some fans exhibit even come from? There was actually a study led by Maria M. Wong, which was published in this article called Predicting the Stalking of Celebrities from Measures of Persistent Pursuit and Threat Directed Towards Celebrities, Sensation Seeking, and Celebrity Worship. In plain English, what this study was doing was using previous studies which developed scales for looking at celebrity worship behaviors and comparing them against another scale used in previous studies, so it's not a new scale, of celebrity stalking behaviors, and trying to see if the worship scale could predict actual stalking behaviors in the stalking scale. Let me try again. Comparing a stalking scale with a worship scale to see if worship could predict stalking. Here are some of the behaviors that they included in the stalking scale: following the celebrity in public, sending threats or threatening objects, expressing attraction or sexual interest, and trespassing on the celebrity's property. In their words, they wanted to assess the association between that scale of stalking behaviors with measures of celebrity worship, persistent pursuit of celebrities, threat directed towards celebrities, boredom, susceptibility, disinhibition, experience seeking, thrill and adventure seeking, and relationship style. So they didn't just look at celebrity worship. Before I even get into the findings of this study, I think there are a few reasons that obnoxious fan behaviors, which is actually what the acronym for this scale stood for, might happen. I think that there's like an illusion of closeness because of parasocial relationships. We love to talk about that over here. People become attached to a celebrity, they feel like they know them, and they feel like they have a relationship with them, but that relationship is one-sided. And I think social media only makes this worse because, you know, social media is how you foster community. And with a celebrity being so open on social media, that relationship is going to grow stronger. And it might be growing stronger on both sides. Like, I obviously love social media, that's why I'm on social media. But it makes sense why parasocial relationships are becoming more of a thing than ever. And there's been some backlash to Roan's statement, and I think it's just because people feel entitled to a famous person's time, and they have the expectation that this person will be as open with them as maybe they are in their online posts or in their movies or in their songs, which, you know, I understand why that expectation exists, but it doesn't mean that it should lead to anger when the other party, the famous party, wants to set boundaries. So, what did the study actually find? Our study found that individuals who admire their favorite celebrity almost exclusively because of their ability to entertain were significantly less likely to engage in obnoxious celebrity stalking. Those who have personal thoughts about their favorite celebrity frequently and feel compelled to learn more about them are more likely to engage in celebrity stalking. Maybe this is kind of obvious, but it's interesting to have a study that actually looks at this because it shows us that a parasocial relationship, and maybe we should say like a delusional parasocial relationship, is a risk factor for stalking. And the reason why maybe I would want to clarify that it's a delusional parasocial relationship is because I think they're not going to go away, and I don't think that they're automatically a bad thing. I think they become harmful when the person who feels the relationship can't grasp the fact that it's going to be one-sided and that they don't actually know that other person as well as they think they do. There are content creators that I really, really like and I care about what goes on in their lives, but I also understand that I don't actually know them and the people in my real life should come first. So I want to make that clear that I don't think you should never be a fan of someone. Like, that is literally how Chappell Roan is able to have the career that she has now, is because people care about her so much. But there's a balance. There's always a balancing act. This is more of an aside, but they were also looking at how susceptibility to boredom and attachment styles may or may not predict stalking behaviors, and they didn't find that that was the case. So boredom was the weakest of the 6 significant predictors of obnoxious celebrity stalking behavior, so down at the bottom. And based on their findings, so you know, this is just one study, insecure attachment does not predict celebrity stalking. So just as an aside, if you're interested in that portion of the study. I want to wrap things up with a quote from Dr. Thompson, who I quoted earlier. She said, "The way that we all experience happiness is different, and happiness is not a concrete experience." I feel like we all have heard quotes like this, that happiness is different for everyone, and you can be happy in many different scenarios. That doesn't mean that money and fame don't make your life easier. They certainly do. But I just think it's important to remember that we all experience the whole range of human emotions, and we should extend that same respect to others that we expect back. And I think fandoms are just a lot more fun if everyone respects the artist, and if the artist respects their fans. Like, you know, if they respect their fans' time, who paid to see them. I just think that makes a fandom so much nicer to be a part of. Don't you agree? Well, I think that's all I have to say on this topic, but I wanted to touch on it because people are talking about it, and these are my 2 cents based on this study that I read. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think and what you thought of Chappell Roan's statements. I think most people are supportive, and we understand that boundaries aren't an attack on the other person, they're just a way to protect oneself. But maybe you disagree, maybe you don't. Either way, I want to hear what you think. So let me know in the comments and I'll reply. As always, thank you so much for being here, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Bye!